Excuse me, sir, this is an Arby's.
Excuse me, sir, this is an Arby's? I know I'm going to love this album already. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lone University. It is indeed April Fool's Day today, but there is nothing April Fool's about the fact that Propagandhi have released a brand new song from their upcoming 8th studio album, At Peace, which releases on May 2nd, 2025. It's really happening. I had heard rumblings about a new album, maybe possibly sometime later this year, but one day I opened my phone and I was like, oh shit, we're here. And it's no secret that Propagandhi have become one of my favorite new bands, and I have you guys, 100% of the credit goes to you guys for turning me on to them over the last year. And this was also the highest voted song request over on Patreon last month. I knew that was going to happen, I'm not surprised, but I still want to shout out Dan Powell, Aaron Busker, JC Nuts, and Matt Hammer over there for requesting it. But before we start, I just wanted to glance at the album cover really quickly and point out how much I love this blatant dichotomy. It's a painting depicting a war scene. The album is called At Peace. It almost feels a bit sarcastic, a bit snarky. I just know the album is going to have so much to say. I'll touch more on that at the end of the video, but for now, let's jump right into the music. This is the new single and title track, At Peace, from Propagandhi.
Hedge every bear, lick every boot, make every appeal. Prostrate yourself to the killing machine, spare yourself from its wheels. Better them than me, roll so seductively off your tongue.
I just feel it.
Your reckoning has begun.
The tones are so good.
In spite of endless war, extinction level advance, depredation and plague, every one of your ancestors survived the reproductive age. The probability that you are even here is next to none. Hey, no press.
Okay, before we get too far into it, right out of the gate, there were some really captivating things about how their vocals and the guitar chords cut off at the same time. It's such a nuanced thing, but to open the song with a punchy, soft thing, like it had a punchy impact, but it was very soft. I just want to go back before I forget that. I love the way, I think it's when he said hedge bets. It's the way the chord cut off with the vocal. I think it was right here.
Hedge every bear.
That just cut off of the chord, you just feel like the air kind of sucked out of the room. There's just something impactful about such a tiny thing. And it further supports the point I've made about the band where oftentimes it's like the vocals really dictate the rhythm of the riff, and it's not a collection of riffs with Chris singing over them. It's almost like the vocals are written first. I doubt that's actually how it was, but it feels like the rest of the band kind of submits to the phrasing of the vocal at key times throughout the few albums I've heard. That is such a unique thing to this band. And that same thing keeps happening here subtly with the way the chords hit, the counts they come in on. Just hear it again. It's a killer buildup.
Hedge every bear.
I don't know, something about it.
Make every appeal. Prostrate yourself to the killing machine, spare yourself from its wheels.
Okay.
Better them than me.
We are down in C minor.
Seductively off your tongue. Your reckoning has begun.
Some really cool bass stuff too. I love how this is the same riff from the intro, just sped up. It has a whole new feel now at a higher tempo. The tones, it's just, so good. The production.
In spite of endless war, extinction level advance, depredation and plague. Every one of your ancestors survived the reproductive age. The probability that you are even here is next to none. Hey, no pressure, everyone.
Yeah, and this is a lyric video. I normally don't focus on the lyrics too much, but I've done 3 Propagandhi albums over on Patreon so far. I've learned to just love the brutal honesty with the lyrics, the messaging. But I'm here for the music first. We'll go back and dissect that later because it's a lot to take in at once, especially with a band like this. But I like this last line here that was,
The probability that you are even here,
the probability that you are even here
is next to none.
is next to none.
Hey, no pressure, everyone.
No pressure, everyone. I don't know. There's something deep about that. I don't know. It just jumped out. So the bass is kind of volleying with the guitar part. I don't find them to be playing the exact same thing really during this whole verse. It's almost like bass is holding down a more wrung out chord approach because Todd's kind of going. I hear those minor thirds. This independent line, and then every time he holds out a note, the guitar's going dugga 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 dugga, and then the guitar will do a chord and the bass will move. So it's just kind of coalescing, and nobody's really doing the same thing. Coolest riff writing style. Let's go back to about here.
It's depredation and plague. Every one of your ancestors survived the reproductive age.
Just love the way they work together.
Probability that you are even here is next to none. Hey, no pressure, everyone.
It's such a cool line.
Wish it got dark, I had to face it alone. There'd be no crying for help. Just how wide I've had to figure shit out my whole.
It's a really subtle layer coming in here on the right channel that wasn't there before. And anytime they do this, it's very meaningful for how it starts to augment the rest of the composition. It's almost tough kind of reading the lyrics because I want so badly to see and get the full message, but this is ultimately challenging to try to do it all at once.
Alone, there'd be no crying for help.
But it's going together so well.
Just how wide I've had to figure shit out my whole life by myself. I say it's cool, it's fucked up. Truth be told, it's cost me a few friends. Sometimes you must protect yourself. Fuck around, research for resilient. I power through the waves of disappointment. Maybe not quite thriving, but I'm buoyant. I am at peace.
Great like inversions here.
Maybe not quite thriving, but I'm buoyant. I am at peace.
Yeah. I think it was putting a third in the bass, but just cool sound. Cool riff. Yeah. Well, I love this change here.
Give and take a fit of blinding rage. I can't seem to shake the belief that there's a liminal state between death and rebirth.
Okay, I don't even know what part of the song this is now. I don't know if it's more of a verse or like a bridge. Doesn't really matter for their music. I feel like the guitar riff now is doing more what the bass was doing earlier in verse 1. Just holding out those. Because the previous bass part was something like. Something like that. Now this guitar part. It's similar. I love that.
Oh yes, I'm really fine. Bodies jotting on my face with a sharpie. Excuse me, sir, this is an Arby's. I am at peace.
Going up high. And I love when the bass in Propagandhi's music does that. And the bass will go up and just catch, almost acting like some of those higher rung out guitar extensions in the chords. The bass will go up. Just love the effect it has. It really keeps the bass jumping out. It's tough to do in arrangements like this that are very dense. I just love the way he does it. Dink on my face. Excuse me, sir, this is an Arby's? I know I'm going to love this album already. That's awesome. I had a double take on that. I'm at peace. Wow. Okay.
I am at peace. Though presently convulsed with grief.
Cool bass stuff.
Though presently.
It's almost what he was doing earlier. Now it's more of a bass, like a mini bass solo just for a second. But it was the part he was doing earlier, going up high and again, acting like some of those higher bass notes are these higher wrung out guitar chords. I just love how they trade off on who really jumps up and catches the higher stuff and the upper extensions of the chords. Makes it really beautiful.
Convulsed with grief.
Okay.
I am at peace. Some days I'm scared I'm gonna die, or even worse, I might survive.
That right there is what is one of my favorite things about the band. Just listen how the vocals and the riff accents are just right. It's just punching. It almost makes those lyrics just hit harder. He's not just singing over a cool riff. It's like there's something back there just punching really specific words into your ear holes. That's what I've always said. Everything about Propagandhi, Chris's singing style just feels very urgent. Like he's got to tell you something that's very urgent. I think that riff writing style that supports the rhythm of the vocals is a big part of that too.
Some days I'm scared I'm gonna die, or even worse, I might survive. I try to keep these words in mind. Nothing worth having comes without some kind of fight. Gotta kick it the darkness till it bleeds straight.
Sick riff. It is just a great time to be a fan of this band, a new fan of this band, because Victory Lap was the first thing I heard. It's what made me fall in love with the band. I love the other albums too. I still think Victory Lap's the favorite overall I've heard. And to know that this is following that up, it's going to be very similar in a lot of ways, but probably very different in lots of others. But the tones, the production, it feels very much like an extension of Naturally, their last album. And I'm just super excited about it. And, it's one thing I always did when some of my favorite bands were announcing new albums. I'd love to peruse the track listing and just look at it and kind of just speculate. What does it mean? Guiding Lights, At Peace, Cat Guy, No Longer Young, Rented PA. There's just some cool song titles. Again, I know this album is going to have so much to say. And I was reading a bit of history about the artwork. I was very intrigued before I started this episode about it being painted by Edgar Paxson, called Custer's Last Stand. It was about, a specific battle in the Great Sioux War of 1876 where Lakota and Cheyenne warriors, led by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, defeated Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer and his battalion. Like they essentially got overpowered, it seemed. And I love that might just be suggesting being paired with the album title At Peace. Again, that dichotomy. It seems to be a reminder that the oppressive forces in this world are just as relevant and real today as they were back then, and that maybe way too many people don't care about that. And I'm just so curious to see what angle they take on that. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this. It's a lot to take in. I feel like I read the lyrics as they went by, and I couldn't quite string together a full message, but a lot of the individual phrases as I saw them were very just profound, good wordplay, wordsmithing. Excuse me, we're in an Arby's or whatever. I I got to go back and reread them, but that's the new single from Propagandhi. I appreciate you guys swarming the page to let me know it was out, and I just look forward to being on the same playing field with all of you, hearing something brand new from them and not feeling like I'm catching up on old stuff. So we have 1 month, and again, let me know in the comments how you're feeling about the new song. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please come find us over on Patreon. Again, I've done 3 Propagandhi albums there, many other punk albums. And if you'd like to learn from me, I have bass lessons and music theory lessons and such over there as well. And if you enjoyed this, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.